Namaste, all you mystical minds. Welcome to the October 2021 full moon. Now, this full moon is happening at 1:56 a.m. It's only just in the next couple of hours because I'm doing this the night before, preparing for this. I don't know about you, but I feel super, super connected to this particular full moon because I'm an Aries ascendant, so I feel the strength and the power that's coming through this particular Mars charged full moon. And it's also in Ashwini, which is my Ascendant Nakshatra. So, that being said, let's jump into the reading. My name is Chelsea Sonkar. I am a Vedic astrologer, and I'm very excited to be bringing this reading to you, all you mystical minds. We've got a lot of information to go through at this time. Every time that I go through these readings, the last couple of months, we're in the eye of the storm. We're building up this energy. And because we're at a full moon at this particular time, we're going to look at a lot of different aspects that are happening with this energy, because it's not just the moon being in Aries. It's not just the moon being in Ashwini in the Sidereal zodiac. We've got Uranus retrograde sitting here. We've got the sun debilitated in Libra in its opposite sign, where the sun would normally be exalted in Aries. It's debilitated in Libra, where the sun usually, feels confident in Aries, where it can speak its mind and its truth. Whereas here it's kind of like, oh, have to kind of check in with other people. Is it okay to speak my truth? Is it not? Knowing what your strong yeses and nos are within the self. This is very much about knowing thyself. So I'll go through all the energies and the meanings behind everything that's happening here at this particular time. We've still got Combust Mars, which is the ruler of this particular sign where the moon's happening at this time, still sitting with Mercury that's just come out of retrograde. I'm just thinking what else I haven't covered. Yeah, all the planets are direct now except for Neptune and Uranus. And of course, I'll go into Ashwini as well so that we can cover all this beautiful energy at this time. So, just before we get started officially, I'm just going to read out a special mantra to Mars in homage to pay respects to this energy. I've also got my coral ring on because I wear that on Tuesdays usually. This is a Wednesday when I'm reading it. It's about to turn into Thursday, but I just really want to honor the Mars energy. And if you really want to honor a bit more of Mars at this particular time, you can read the Hanuman Chalisa or have a look it up on YouTube as well. You can find some great mantras that you can play in the background tomorrow when the full moon is activated. Om Dharani Kharva Sambhutam Vidyukanti Samaprabham Kumaram Shakti Hastam Ka Tam Mangalam Pranamamyaham Om Hum Sri Mangalye Namaha. Supporting the womb of all existence, Mars shines forth with the radiance of beauty enhanced by love, the sun wielding energy in his hand. We bow down to Mars, bearer of welfare. We bow down, Om. We bow down to Mars, bearer of welfare. So, just before we get started, I'm going to read out two quotes. I've got this really beautiful book by Sajana Elise Earp, which is fascinating because the story of Ashwini that I'm going to tell you is about the mother, Sanjana, who is it Sanjana, who ran away from her husband. She turned into a mare when she found out that her husband Surya was cheating on her with the housemaid. And then he realized his mistake and he chased after her and they made love and they created the Ashwini twins, the two horsemen, the physicians to the gods. And it's a very fascinating story, but I just love this. You've got to see this. It's Sajana. So I just felt really drawn to this book particularly, and I just opened up to the 2 pages that come through. I don't know how you feel about this, but I mean, we're talking about astrology, Vedic astrology, all the woo-woo esoteric stuff. So here we go. The page that I opened up to first said, remove resistance and succumb to the destiny outlined in the stars. And the second page that I opened up to, these are the messages for this month. Every day I'm stepping closer and closer towards my true self. I can feel it. All the internal shifts and reshaping. Each day I relearn my potential as I realize my strengths. Every new moment I breathe life in to acknowledge the depth of my feminine nature and release control to surrender to the spirit within. Boom. So, you know, a lot of the words that are in there, and this book's called You Will Rise. Sorry, you can't see it because of my background, but it's Seek, Soothe, and Soar. All the words that are in there about prana, you know, we're talking about the first sign of the zodiac. It's about birth. This energy about coming within, knowing thyself, not giving your power away, knowing who you are, removing yourself from situations or other people so that you can really get clear on what your energy is. Because when you know that you're constantly around other people, your thoughts, your beliefs, everything that makes your environment sort of run can be tampered with other people's thoughts and themes that are kind of playing out around that. So let's jump into some of this more energy. Now, I'll cover the themes and what's happening, but I just want to cover really quickly. So as I mentioned, the new moon that we had that was in Virgo with all these other planets, Mercury, Mars, and the Sun, where we were setting intentions around health, and there's, you know, there can be anger there at the same time. I always try to cover the shadow side and the highest aspect that you can experience at this time so that you can really sort of prepare yourself and plan ahead to experience your greatest light, your greatest reality at this particular time, and be aware of the shadow side that can appear so that you can plan ahead. So here we've got the full moon where the new moon's intentions manifest. It's a time of being. So things that come to fruition. Now, you can see, as I explained before, that the sun is debilitated in Libra, where we can be a little bit sort of unsure of ourselves, a bit frustrated with other people, feeling like you've got to check in with others to see how you're really feeling. You know, I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago about the importance of having a really strong no and knowing what a yes is. If you don't have an answer to a question, it could be anything. Now, I mean, vaccines is a big debate at the moment. You know, the mandates that are going on around the world. I'm in Canberra in Australia. We all know that Australia has some very intense sort of rules being laid out at the moment, and it's really important to take a step back. If you don't know if you've got a yes or a no, give yourself some space and some time. Don't let anybody push you into saying yes or no to something that you're not sure about. There's nothing wrong with taking some time in the present moment for you to decide what feels right for you as an individual. Now, I'm not pressing any specific agenda. I think it's really important for you to be authentic to yourself. And it really is these themes of know thyself. So with this full moon in Aries, we're talking about, and I just want to touch on really quickly that this Uranus retrograde. Retrogrades is where we kind of go back and think about these themes. Uranus is in Aries from 2018 till 2025, so right smack bang in the middle. It spends 7 years in a sign, and it takes about 84 years to do a full circle of the full zodiac. The last time Uranus was here was World War II, and this is where atomic energies were coming out. I don't know if you guys saw that in the news in the last week that China sent off a missile that did a round around the Earth. You know, back in World War II, around these times, it was where the Roswell crash happened and information about alien contact came out. It's said to be Uranus is the Great Awakener. So this is where we wake up to corruption and hidden information can be revealed. So we're very much sort of reviewing what's happening right now. It's expect the unexpected. It's about technology, electricity, innovations, all these things. And with the moon specifically in Ashwini, we're talking about healing information, unexpected information coming out. Because Mars is still Combust, the lord of this particular sign, we can find that, yes, there can be, there's that tendency, and again, it's sitting with Mercury, tendency to be a bit brash and fiery with our communication. So be mindful of that, but also be aware that we can have major breakthroughs and new beginnings happening here also. It's very exciting. It's about outgrowing things that are limiting us. Now, like I said, it's just, I'm thinking of the horse molting and letting go of your old fur, essentially. When we talk about Ashwini specifically, it's the star of transport. So I know for myself specifically, my mind can work very, very quickly. I love to sit down and just kind of get to work on something very quickly without interruption because I know that I can get it done. Lots of ideas that can pop in your head. It's specifically about righteousness and duty and ethical conduct, and it's symbolized by the male horse. The symbol is the horse head, so the physicians to the gods, like the story that I shared at the beginning of this video, and it's also ruled by Ketu, which happens to be sitting in Mars's other sign right now, which is Scorpio with Venus. So detachment to, I don't want to go too much into Ketu as the ruler of Ashwini, but in the Vimshatari Dasha, but we're talking about this detachment to these old themes and, you know, spiritually realizing the truth and awakening to health and healing modalities. So in Ashwini, we can see a lot of things like Ayurveda, yoga, Jyotish, Vedic astrology coming out, sort of getting information from different sources, but it's very healing. The energy that we play with here is motivational, it's inspirational, it's an awakening of consciousness. It's very headstrong and childlike because it's the first sign. So you imagine if the 12th sign is Pisces and that's death, and then we're reborn again and come back into the world in Aries, you'll notice there's this very childlike nature, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean childish, but we need that. We need to see the eyes through a childlikeness, that innocence that can be there, that imagination and playfulness that we really do need to start stepping back into, as opposed to you know, getting angry and that super sort of kick your heels in sort of thing. And then again, when you think about a child that just cries out for what they want, this is an important full moon for saying, you know, that's what I want, and knowing strongly that's what I want, because I've got a son who's 2 and he'll let me know if he wants something, you know, and they usually get it, because it depends on what it is. Obviously, like, parents set boundaries for their children, but this is a place of knowing what your boundaries are and what feels right for you. So if my son, for example, doesn't want a hug or a kiss, we make sure that we honor his boundaries, because it's important to let children explore that and express themselves, as opposed to trying to force them into a mold that you think they should be perceiving based on your own experiences and expectations that have been put on you. So again here, yet divine mystical energy. So it's said that the Ashwini twins bring healing energy down to earth, light, happiness, and bliss. And we talk about prana, this control of the breath. So if you think about controlling a horse, when you control the breath, when you're contracting and then you're expanding and then you bring it back in. And if you're feeling angry, like when Aries can get a little bit overwhelmed or frustrated. And again, when we talk about the zodiac signs, and I like to make this very, very clear, that you can find this shadow aspect where people can be put into boxes where they go, oh, Aries are such hotheads. You know, you don't even know where that person's Mars is placed. So it can completely shift and change the energy. I know for myself personally, it's in Pisces. So it's in a water sign. It totally changes the energy. It doesn't mean that you're walking around like a hothead all the time, but you can have Mars aspects come up in your life. We all have a Mars placement in our birth chart that is affecting us individually, but as we know, our ascendant can change those energies. And what I'm trying to express here is that knowing how to use this energy appropriately, and like I said at the beginning of the video, preparing yourself so that you can choose the energy that you want to be using, as opposed to falling into the shadow side. So the shadow side, which is a good time to touch on it, is the impulsiveness, the aggression, stubborn or arrogant, fear of criticism, struggle to quiet the mind. So as we come back into the breath, sorry, that's what I was trying to say before, is that if you notice that you're just, you know, when you get kind of angry, that's why we say take a couple of deep breaths, because you're slowing the prana to come back into balance, because the breath is life. If we don't have the breath, we can't stay in the physical body. We have to go back to spirit. It's not possible to stay here if you're not using that control of the breath, like the horses. So when we say we yoke the horses and they've got those blinders on, they can run wild, but make sure that they're running in the direction that you want them to be running in at this time. So again, Sun debilitated in Libra, you know, not really sure about what's going on, having a strong idea of what is important to you, knowing thyself. Don't don't fall into the fear of criticism side of it, and come back and know who you are. Expect the unexpected at this time. You know, there is going to be craziness going out on the macro, the world, the global level, but on the interior level, take the time to reflect. You know, other themes that are coming out right now is, you know, that seeking for recognition, where the sun is in Libra, where we're kind of worried about what other people think of us. It's really important to know what you think of yourself. If you are externally seeking validation from other people to affirm your worthiness, let that shit go. Molt it off, my friend. Literally, you know, it is time to, you yourself will know whether you need to kind of be around others or take some solitude time. But especially with an Aries full moon, use this time to exercise, burn up some energy, come back into balance, and really tune in with the signals that are going off, listen to them so that you can understand what you really need and what your yeses and nos are. And don't be afraid of what's going to happen. You know, worst comes worst, play out the scenario. What's the worst that's going to happen if I say no to this? What's the worst that's going to happen if I say yes to this? And better yet, what's the best thing that can happen if I say yes or no to this situation? So that you can flip it from anxiety to opportunity. Now, the themes here, we're waking up with Uranus and the moon here. Boundaries, as I've mentioned, and being strong and confident in your decisions, knowing thyself, recognizing the self, taking the time to exercise. And you'll notice that there will be themes on a focus on healing and new health information that will come out, and unexpected health information. So that's the main information I wanted to go through. I just wanted to share really quickly too, before I finish this video up, that again, whenever I do these readings, I get a couple of, you know, signs and symbols from the universe a couple of days before. And for me, particularly this month, I'm planning a Instagram live with my very, very, very dear friend, Andrew Anthony, that I believe we're doing on Wednesday next week, specifically talking about our, the title is Becoming Your Own New Earth, and our lockdown experience and how it has pressure cooked us into greater awakening and greater realizing, as opposed to focusing on all the shifts and changes that are happening in the world, but what has actually shifted and changed within ourselves to awaken us to who we're really meant to be. It's going to be a really exciting conversation. I will share links for that below, but you can, in the title, you know, videos, you can see my Instagram channel and you can go and check it out there. I believe it'll be about, at the moment, I think we've spoken about it, it'll be about 7 o'clock at night on Wednesday evening, Australian Eastern Standard Time next week. But yeah, we just had these themes about health that were coming out, where we initially were starting to talk about this conversation, just synchronicities that we were both feeling. And another friend recommended the Medical Medium books to me. Now, without going into too much detail, recently we discovered some health issues that were going on with my son. So we are still breastfeeding, and I really feel the need to do a cleanse. And this friend recommended the Medical Medium book. One of many people who have mentioned it to me about the celery juice herb healing benefits, and apparently it's breastfeeding friendly. So just to have that come into my awareness and my world, and then going and doing the research and seeing how incredibly healing this is, and then being able to share it with other people around me this week that are also experiencing health issues. Like, I'm talking about half the book covering so many different chronic issues that can be healed by this 30-day, you know, drinking half a liter of celery juice at the beginning of the day. Now, read the book for yourself before you start writing comments below. Do your own research or check out his videos online, but his story is fascinating. And for me personally, that's just my micro experience. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen on the macro level, whether it's tomorrow or in the next couple of days. But just having these friends come into my awareness with new health information, it's been absolutely fascinating. And then multiple friends sharing these health-related immune boosting recipes, such as Jamaican hibiscus tea, that's traditionally like a Christmas drink, but it's used to really help boost the immune system. Lemon balm, another friend was talking about the other day, that I'd never used before. And another friend was talking about star anise and how you can grind it up and create a drink with it so that you can really help boost the immune system. So this super, super focus on coming back to natural medicine, Ayurvedic remedies, how we can actually take our health seriously. And as we move into this 5D shift, really wanting to kind of sattvic up our physical body and our etheric body and our mind so that we can move into a lighter form of being, that this 5D shift is happening from 3D. So that's my reading for this month. I'll come back with the November update very soon, and the new moon that will happen there. I haven't even checked it out yet, so I can't even talk about it, but so much to be said. We, like I said, come into the heart of the storm. Don't fall into the place of fear. And if you do, that's okay, but catch yourself and celebrate and go, yes, I caught myself, and come back. You know, really use this power-packed energy of this full moon. I'm super excited. You know, I'm being the baby of the zodiac ascendant and seeing the moon in my own sign. I'm just like, yes, it's just, I feel the power here. And even though Mars is still debilitated, it's starting to move away. So we've moved out of that really intense interaction where Mars and the Sun were sitting super, super close. So I'm starting to feel the shift of that. And knowing this information is so incredibly powerful because you get to make the decision how you want to experience this. Because when you know what's going on, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to put myself into that environment, and I'm going to make sure that I'm doing this practice in the day to help balance my energy. That's why I love Vedic astrology and why I've chosen to move into this career path, because it's just so incredibly helpful and inspiring to, you know, just seeing what's happening and then getting to make the choices so that you can quantumly live the life that you really want to do, so that you can achieve your dharma to its highest potential. Love, light, blessings, all the positive energies and intentions for this full moon for you, my friend, wherever you are in the world. I'm sending my love to you and blessings. Make it whatever you want it to be. Remember the shadow sides. Come into the light. Take some time out for yourself. Use the physical energy of this particular moon so that you can really focus on, you know, taking the positive energies of the Aries energy so that you can experience this full moon. Lots of love. Namaste.